There comes a moment in every destiny when God says, "Be still," not because he has forgotten you, but because he's working on you. In the silence, he separates you from noise, from opinions, from distractions, so you can finally hear your own purpose. We often crave to be seen, while heaven desires us to be sharpened. So when God tells you, focus on yourself and stay silent, he's not punishing you, he's positioning you. Because the voice that shakes nations is first trained in the silence of obedience. There are moments in life when God doesn't speak loudly, he whispers. He doesn't push you forward, he pulls you inward. And if you're not sensitive, you'll mistake his silence for absence, when in truth, it's his greatest act of presence. God says, "Be still," not because he's done using you, but because he's just beginning to form something new within you. The power of silence is one of the most misunderstood seasons in a believer's life. You see, when God commands you to withdraw and refocus, he's not isolating you to break you. He's separating you to build you. The world tells you to stay visible, stay active, keep proving yourself, keep posting, keep talking. But heaven's strategy is the complete opposite. God hides what he's developing. He covers what he's constructing. Because destiny cannot be birthed in noise. It requires the womb of silence. Have you ever wondered why Jesus often withdrew to lonely places to pray? Why Elijah heard God not in the fire, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, but in the still small voice? Because divine clarity is born in divine quiet. It's in that stillness that the noise of doubt dies and the whisper of purpose is heard again. When God says, "Focus on yourself," he's not talking about selfishness. He's talking about refinement. He's saying, it's time to look within. It's time to correct what the crowd can't see. There are attitudes, habits, insecurities, and wounds that cannot be healed in public. They can only be transformed in private. Silence becomes the sacred ground where transformation takes root. And yes, it's uncomfortable, because silence exposes what noise hides. It reveals the fears you buried beneath business. It confronts the conversations you've avoided with yourself. But hear this, before God elevates a person publicly, he disciplines them privately. Before he trusts you with influence, he tests you with isolation. That's why some of you feel like you've been disconnected, overlooked, even forgotten. But what if you're not forgotten at all? What if heaven simply hid you for a reason? What if this quiet season is God's way of saying, "I'm protecting you from premature exposure, because anything revealed before it's ready will collapse under the weight of its own potential." So when you find yourself in that season of divine silence, don't resist it, lean into it. Stop fighting for attention. Stop chasing validation. Focus, listen, be still. Because when God calls for silence, he's not taking something from you. He's preparing something for you. This is where true strength is formed. This is where clarity replaces confusion and identity becomes unshakable. And when the time is right, when heaven's construction in you is complete, he will reintroduce you to the world, stronger, wiser, and untouchable by the noise that once distracted you. So don't curse the silence. Thank God for it, because in the quiet, he's crafting something powerful. And what he builds in the dark will soon shine in the light. But before that happens, he must test how well you can stay focused when no one is watching. Divine isolation, it doesn't feel divine when you're in it, does it? It feels lonely. It feels confusing. It feels like heaven suddenly went silent while the world kept moving without you. But what if I told you, this is not abandonment, it's strategy. God isolates before he elevates. Every person chosen by God must first endure the quiet classroom of separation. Because before he takes you to a new level, he must first remove you from familiar ground. There are seasons when God literally pulls you away from people, from circles, from noise, from what used to be comfortable. And you start asking, Lord, why am I alone? Why did they leave? Why did everything change so suddenly? But the truth is, He's not punishing you. He's protecting your preparation. The next chapter of your life requires a version of you that can't be developed in the crowd. You see, isolation is not about being cut off. It's about being set apart. There's a difference. When the world rejects you, that's isolation. But when God hides you, that's preparation. He hides you to heal you, to shape you, to refine you until you become unrecognizable to the person you used to be. And sometimes He hides you in plain sight. You'll be around people, yet unseen, surrounded, yet misunderstood. That's how you know God is working behind the veil. Look at Joseph. His brothers threw him in a pit, sold him into slavery, locked him in a prison. But every place of isolation was a training ground for his purpose. The pit prepared his humility, the prison prepared his leadership, and the palace revealed his destiny. God didn't forget Joseph in isolation. He formed him there. And that's exactly what He's doing in you. Don't despise the season where no one seems to notice your progress. Don't despise the hidden place, because sometimes obscurity is God's mercy. If He exposed you too early, your character might not survive the spotlight. Divine isolation is the sacred space where your roots grow deep before your fruit grows visible. And yes, it's painful. You'll feel misunderstood. You'll feel disconnected from everything familiar. But that's the sign. You're being transitioned. You're no longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. That in-between space is holy ground. It's where your faith matures, your patience strengthens, and your vision becomes clear. So if God has isolated you, don't fight it, embrace it. Because every divine isolation is a prelude to divine revelation. He's not trying to keep you away from the world. He's trying to prepare you for it. And when He finally brings you back, you won't fit where you came from because you've been changed. This is the secret few understand. Before elevation comes separation. Before glory comes the hidden story. But there's one more thing you must understand about this process. Focus is the key that keeps you steady when isolation starts to feel like delay. Focus is the language of destiny. Every great move of God in your life begins with focus. Not power, not speed, not talent, but focus. Because whatever you give consistent attention to, you give permission to grow. That's why the enemy doesn't have to destroy you to stop you. He just has to distract you. If he can scatter your focus, he can silence your progress. Have you noticed? Every time you get close to a breakthrough, distractions multiply. People start pulling your energy. Situations arise out of nowhere. Your emotions get tested. Why? Because destiny requires discipline, and focus is its proof. You cannot fulfill a divine purpose with a divided mind. That's why God told you, focus on yourself. Not because He wants you to become self-centered, but because He wants you to become purpose-centered. When your focus is clear, your path becomes clear. When your mind is scattered, your life follows the same pattern. That's why you must protect your focus like treasure. Don't let opinions become your prison. Don't let comparisons steal your confidence. You are not called to look at what others are doing. You are called to finish what you were born to do. Focus is the ability to say no to good things so you can say yes to the right things. It's the discipline to stay planted when everything in you wants to move. It's the wisdom to guard your energy, your time, your mind. Because the truth is, what you focus on determines what you attract. If your focus is on frustration, you'll multiply frustration. But if your focus is on purpose, you'll multiply productivity. Think about it. God gave every human the same 24 hours, yet what separates success from stagnation isn't time, it's focus. Time wasted is destiny delayed. And many people pray for blessings they're too distracted to receive. You can't expect divine increase if your attention is divided between obedience and opinion. This is why God sometimes removes certain people, certain distractions, certain comforts, so he can help you see clearly again. He's saying, my child, this season is not about activity, it's about alignment. You don't need to do more. You need to focus better. You don't need to chase opportunity. You need to steward purpose. When your focus shifts from the noise around you to the voice within you, something powerful happens. Your peace returns. Your direction sharpens. You begin to recognize what truly matters and what doesn't deserve your energy anymore. That's when purpose takes shape, when destiny begins to breathe again. So guard your focus like it's sacred, because it is. Every destiny is one distraction away from delay. Stay centered, stay grounded, stay aligned. Because focus is not just discipline, it's worship. It's how you tell God, I trust your process more than my feelings. And once that focus is locked in, God begins to hide you, not to limit you, but to prepare you for the unveiling that's coming next. When God hides you, it's not rejection, it's redirection. It's not silence, it's strategy. You see, before every public manifestation, there is a private construction. God never reveals what he hasn't first refined. So when it seems like nobody sees you, nobody calls you, nobody celebrates you, don't panic. You're not forgotten. You're being formed. There's a reason God doesn't allow you to be visible too soon. Exposure before preparation is dangerous, because if the stage arrives before your strength does, what was meant to bless you can break you. So he hides you, not to deprive you of opportunity, but to develop your capacity. The world might not recognize your name yet, but heaven knows exactly who you are and what you're becoming. God hides purpose the way a seed hides potential. When you plant a seed, it disappears. It goes underground. No one claps for it. No one sees it grow. But in that hidden place, something divine is happening. Roots are forming, strength is building, and destiny is taking shape. That's what God is doing with you. He has planted you in the soil of silence, and though it looks like nothing is happening, beneath the surface, everything is happening. Sometimes we fight the hiding because we crave validation. We want to be noticed, appreciated, applauded. But here's the truth. When God hides you, he's protecting you from premature applause, because the applause of men can kill what the approval of God is still growing. The hidden season is not punishment, it's preservation. God hides you until your foundation is strong enough to carry your future. Think about David. Before he was king, he was a shepherd in the fields, singing songs to sheep. Nobody saw him. Nobody celebrated him, but heaven was watching. And when the moment came, God sent a prophet to find him. David didn't need to promote himself. Purpose came looking for him. And that's how it works. When your preparation is complete, your calling will locate you. So if you're in a season where God has hidden you, don't despise it. You are not behind, you're being built. Don't let impatience make you step out of timing. The hidden season is God's way of maturing your gift before the world demands it. He's teaching you, molding you, refining your motives, so that when you finally rise, you'll last. Yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's quiet. But that silence is not empty. It's sacred. Because in the hiding, he's sharpening your discernment. He's teaching you how to hear his voice without the noise of the crowd. And when that lesson is complete, he will uncover you himself at the right time, in the right place, before the right people. So don't rush the process. Stay hidden until heaven says, now, because the God who hides you is the same God who will reveal you. And when he does, you won't need to explain yourself. You'll simply become yourself. Stop explaining yourself and start becoming yourself. Because the more you try to convince people of who you are, the less time you have to actually become who God created you to be. There comes a point in your journey when you must understand. Not everyone will see what God placed in you. Not everyone will understand your silence, your separation, your focus. And that's all right. You were never called to be understood. You were called to be become. The need to explain is the evidence of insecurity, but the confidence of destiny knows when to stay silent. You don't owe anyone a defense for your obedience. When God gives you an instruction, it's not a group discussion. When He gives you vision, it won't make sense to those who never saw it. So stop exhausting yourself trying to prove to others what only heaven can reveal. Sometimes your greatest power is quiet progress. Let your results speak. Let your consistency testify. Because the truth is, explanation drains energy that should be invested in transformation. While you're busy explaining, you're delaying. And while you're seeking validation, you're losing momentum. The more you grow, the less you need to talk about it. The seed doesn't announce its growth. It just breaks through the soil one day, and everyone sees what was always inside. You see, people judge what they can see, but God works in what they cannot. So don't expect everyone to understand your process. Some will misinterpret your silence as pride, your separation as arrogance, your focus as selfishness. But that's because they can't discern what's happening inside you. Let them talk. Let them assume. You just keep building, because one day the same people who doubted you will have to witness what silence produced. And here's the truth. Explanation often invites interference. The more you share prematurely, the more opinions you attract. And too many voices can drown out the one voice that matters. When God tells you to move in silence, it's not to isolate you. It's to protect what's still growing. You don't explain a baby in the womb. You wait until it's born. The same applies to your purpose. Let it develop quietly until it's ready to stand publicly. So stop apologizing for your focus. Stop feeling guilty for saying no. You are not being rude. You are being refined. You are in a season where your energy is sacred, your mind is under construction, and your spirit is learning stillness. The less you explain, the more peace you keep. The more peace you keep, the faster you grow, because destiny doesn't respond to noise, it responds to alignment. In this next phase, your silence will speak louder than your explanations ever could. God will make your life the proof, your growth the answer, and your success the testimony. So keep your head down, your heart right, and your mouth closed, because what you're building in silence will soon be seen by everyone in the light. And before that unveiling, there's one final principle you must embrace: the quiet construction of your destiny. There's a sacred season in every destiny called the quiet construction. It's the period when God is building you, not blessing you publicly yet. It's when He's arranging the unseen details of your life, your discipline, your discernment, your endurance. And while others may think nothing is happening, heaven knows everything is being put in place. This is the season when progress is invisible, but transformation is undeniable. You wake up each day feeling unseen, but you're being strengthened. You pray in silence, and God answers in strategy. You sacrifice what no one celebrates. You choose integrity over attention. You walk alone, not because you're forgotten, but because you're being forged. The quiet construction is where God teaches you to rely on principles instead of applause. He strips away the need for recognition. He trains your spirit to stand without validation. Because when the foundation is strong in private, the structure can stand tall in public. If He built you fast, you'd fall fast. But because He's building you right, you'll last. Every masterpiece requires time. Every structure that endures has gone through hidden labor. You can't rush divine construction. You can't skip spiritual development. God knows what you'll face tomorrow, so He's preparing you today. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour It's part of his blueprint. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is random. And yes, sometimes it feels like silence. It feels like stillness. It feels like you're buried under the weight of waiting. But what if you're not buried? What if you're planted? What if this season of silence is not God's? No. But his not yet, because when he finally unveils what he's been building in you, it won't just bless you. It will bless nations. Don't underestimate what's happening behind closed doors. Don't despise small beginnings. Every great destiny begins in obscurity. Before the light shines, the structure must be tested in darkness. That's why God builds in private before he displays in public. He wants your character to be ready for your calling, your humility to match your influence, your peace to outlast your pressure. So stay steady in the construction. Stay faithful in the unseen. Stay obedient when it's quiet. Because when God finishes his work in you, the unveiling will be undeniable. You won't need to announce it. Your fruit will speak for itself. And when that moment comes, all the pain, the silence, the separation will make sense. You'll realize the nights you cried were laying bricks of wisdom. The days you felt alone were shaping pillars of strength. The prayers no one heard were building walls of faith. The obedience that cost you everything was constructing your destiny. Because in the quiet, God was building the version of you that could carry his promise. And when he's done, you won't just be ready for the platform. You'll be the platform through which his glory stands.